Well, good morning, good evening, and good afternoon, and good night, and wherever you may be on this wonderful world we call Earth. You are watching the show that we all know and love, or at least I really enjoy it, which is, of course, Sketching Past Midnight live here with us at 1:41 a.m. this time zone on this part of this lovely planet we call Earth. And this is, or this was, Easter Sunday. So I am, of course, your host. If I've not said it already, CB Smallwood. And what are we going to be doing? Well, to continue with a lot of what I've been doing in the past 4 or 5 videos, which is philosophy. Talking a lot about philosophy, a little bit about theology, a little bit about this, that, comics, pop culture, just whatever happens to pop in my mind. We're going to have a fun time with that, or maybe we don't. Maybe it's like a car wreck that you just can't turn away from. You just have to keep watching. Now, as I'm talking and I'm stalling for time, I'm getting my instruments of war ready. I'm going to destroy this page, these papers. But before I talk about what tonight's topic is and all this other stuff, I want to actually talk about what I'll be sketching, drawing, doodling, whatever you want to call it. Now, first of all, here is this page that you have seen for the millionth time. Now, there is a couple of reasons why I've not made too much progress. I made little progress here and a little progress there, and the snail's pace of that progress is a little bit of poor budgeting of time, which is my fault. I accept that responsibility, but it is also I've had a lot of things going on at work where I've been staying very busy, very busy. And so any of that free time that I had before, I don't have as much of it anymore. That could change. It changes day by day. And so that is affecting this a little bit more. So I'm going to have to budget my time a lot more wisely, and I need to create like a really comfortable area here at home. It's more productive for drawing and stuff like that. And yeah, you've all seen this before, and I've done a few resketches here. As far as like before I had the spear of destiny, if you can call it that, the spear going up into the polar bear's mouth, and I thought, well, that's not a killing blow. That's more inconvenient on the part of the polar bear. And something else I did, I changed this a little bit. I shrunk this guy down so I could get more of the spear into there. Yes, phone, what is it? Is it a notification letting me know that I'm on YouTube? Yes, I'm familiar with it. So tonight I'm going to do something different. Well, it's not that different. I got all these little projects that I feel on some level I'm doing for this person or that person, or I'm sharing with other people. But I want to do a project that is selfish. I want to do a project that is just for me. And so tonight, I think what I would like to do is start drawing some pages for Wildcat Dead Man Walking. So we got this blank page ready to go. I guess the only other thing I have to add art wise is, here was this, here is this Incredible Hulk watercolor that I did. This is the penciled, inked, and watercolored page. Looks a lot better than how it did when I first, watercolored it. I feel that it's got more pizzazz to it. It's got more something to it, something really nice. And so I'm a lot more happier with it. It's popping really good, I think. Is it the best watercolor job you've ever seen? No. Does it have little touches of amateurism, if that is such a word? Yeah. But it is what it is. So let me put this giveaway piece away, whatever happens with that. And then, of course, I've been, working on this Wolverine, fan art, whatever you want to call it. It's coming together, pretty good. I wonder if I can raise the camera so you can get a little bit of a better gander, kind of take things in into its full, glory. Honestly, I kind of like the Hulk page just a little bit better than this for the sheer fact that I'm not feeling it. I'm not feeling it. It's just not coming together for me, and I don't know what to do about that, other than just keep working on it and just finish it, And last but not least, talking about Dead Man Walking, Wildcat Dead Man Walking, which is going to be the comic, the trade paperback that I'm working on, that would have hypothetically 48 pages, 120 pages, however many pages it may be. This is the story arc, Dead Man Walking, of Wildcat rising from the grave and becoming sheriff of a small town. And here we've got this sketched out page of the fox in her house, in her room. And I've got, written here, page 6, which, yeah, that would be page 6, so I'm not going to get into all that. So let me set this to the side. I got this ready, and let's go ahead and start sketching. And let me get a sip of water, and then I'll get into tonight's topic. It's not going to stay there. I'll just have to try my best. How about that? So in tonight's episode of Sketching Past Midnight Live, what we're going to be talking about is more philosophy. And those of you that watch this know I'm really big on the philosophical aspect of of drawing. I think it's so important. It's not just important for art or for writing or inking, lettering, whatever it may be. It's important for whatever your passions are, whatever you're doing for your daily existence. And philosophy is just basically what frame of mind that you need to put yourself in, what frame of mind should you be in, that's going to be the most productive for you, that's going to produce the best results, that's going to put you where you want to be, I guess. I mean, philosophy goes pretty deep in terms of your own personal needs versus being in harmony with nature, with the universe, the environment, whatever it may be. And tonight's show, as I've mentioned before, I really do believe that when it comes to making comics and drawing comics in particular, that your state of mind is probably about close to 50%, maybe 50% of what it of what it takes to make comics. And I know that sounds ludicrous. I know that sounds crazy, absurd. And maybe some of you might be like, maybe that's why you're not more productive, because you're too busy in the mental side of things. But I believe the mental is the key. It's the key to everything. Because I think, in my opinion, the mental aspect of making comics can hurt you or help you. And if you don't have the right mindset, then what ends up happening is you, like in an earlier video, the inception of the mind. It's a double-edged sword. On one hand, you can um, daydream sweet, pleasant dreams of success and where you want to be in life, and the achievements that you have, and basically dreams of accomplishments. And then the danger of that is you spend more time in that dream and not doing anything in reality to make that dream real. And then the other part of the double-edged sword of the inception of the mind is the destructive part of it. That's more destructive, where you look at your failures and your lack of success and all these other things, and you get lost in that. And that too is dangerous. And so I just kind of refer to it, for lack of a better word, as the inception of the mind. And forgot my train of thought there, but anyway, my point is, I really do believe that, gosh, a big chunk, a big percentage of what it takes to make a comic book is all in you. It's all in your mind. It's all in your head. The rest of the percentage, whatever that may be, is what I'm doing right now. And a lot of times our mind gets in the way. But I think a lot of the working professionals, the guys that can do this like no other, people like Jim Lee, people like, here's a good workhorse, Ron Mars. Not Ron Mars, he's a writer. Ron Friends. Yeah. That guy had drawn Thor and Thunderstrike and a lot of other things, fill in issues here and there. I think he, may have drawn Spider-Man at one point. He had a stint at DC drawing the blue Superman, the blue lightning Superman. The reason I bring him up is, he's a very prolific artist. He's a guy that meets deadlines, gets stuff done, and you got to have the right mindset, in my opinion, to be able to do that every month. And now, a lot of comic artists can't even draw 12 issues a year. A lot of comic book artists, they're producing 6 issues or less a year of any given title. That's my opinion. I mean, you just have to look into it and research it yourself. But I really do believe that there is, some truth to that, how much times have changed, but, mindset, that's the key. Having the right mindset, and because it flows into everything from your habits to your wants, your needs, how you cope with failure, how you cope with success, because there's a danger in success. I've seen a lot of artists who have success at being a comic artist, and they take all that money, they blow it, they take all that fame, it goes to their head, and they just they destroy themselves with a little bit of fame that they get. So, in tonight's episode, as I struggle to get this looking good, I'm not liking how it's looking, but thank God for erasers. Tonight's episode is about letting go. And why is that? Why is that important? Why is that whatever in this whole mental game that we're playing? Well, I'll tell my own personal thing, and you can either relate or not. And then maybe we'll get into like how that stacks up with other philosophies and theologies. Here lately, I've been thinking about my journey as a comic artist. I think about getting into the inception of mine, which I'm not going to repeat all that again. I know it's monotonous, but I get lost in myself. I get lost in my head, both the good and the bad. And no, no, no. That's not. It's not the vibe I'm going for. It's not. It's not going to work for me. But I've been getting lost in myself a lot, and yeah, let's do it more like that. And as I do that, I'm wasting a lot of time. I'm not making any real progress getting things done. Getting the things done that's going to be meaningful. It's going to have a meaningful impact on my life and ultimately the lives of others because I want to help other people, and to do that I need to be able to level up and be in a position to where I can do that. But I can't get too lost in that idea either because that's just more of the same. And I think about the failed Wildcat Indiegogo campaign. I ponder that sometimes, not a lot, but I do. I ponder posting things on Twitter and different social media platforms and the interactions and stuff I get there. Sometimes it's a wondering about you know am I reaching X amount of people? Is am I having an impact with my post, uh, or are they just coming up short? And speaking of that, and I will circle back. In the words of our great press secretary, I will circle back. I had an interesting interaction with a troll here lately. Um, I was on Twitter. I check Twitter every other day. Sometimes I check it every day, and other times it's every other day. It just depends. Um, and so a couple days ago, I was checking Twitter. I was looking at it, basking in its Wild West glory, and I had got a notification. And I looked, and there was a GIF that I had made, like a GIF, a GIF. And for those that don't know, a GIF is just like this little animated thing where you take a bunch of pictures and depending on how many you put in it, it just cycles through those pictures automatically. And so I had made a GIF of some art that I did of Shinobi Sasquatch, of Hiro, Hiro, and of Wildcat and the Fox. Let's see, just a bunch of stuff like that. So I had to put all those together in a GIF, and it was just cycling through it. And it was an old post from, I think, a few years ago. And one person had commented on it. I don't even think anybody had commented on that, really. I have to go back and look at it. And this one person, who I will refer to as Troll, replied. And what did Troll say? And it was very short and sweet. It was like a sentence. And I think Troll said, this art looks like shit. Hmm. And I'm being honest with you right now. When I read that, it did not affect me in a negative way, despite the title of this video. It seems the contrary, but I'm telling the truth. I really am. But it was just interesting, this person, had made this post. Um, so I was curious, and I went and looked at their Twitter profile. I was checking out, trying to see what this person's like, what their deal is, and on their Twitter, like, they don't have many followers, which that sounds really vain to say that, but some people, when they get followers and stuff on, or followers, or Facebook friends and all this other stuff, it's like genuine people that they're having interactions with. You know what I mean? Like they're actually trying to make friends, or be a part of something, while other people kind of do more of a social networking thing, where it's all about pushing a product or trying to have something to gain, or maybe it's a combination of both. I don't know. And this guy didn't have very many people uh, on his Twitter, and I don't think anybody replied to any of his posts that he had posted. And again, this sounds really vain, but I'm just trying to give you a backstory of the troll, because I think it gives the story more. It helps put it in context for you. I mean, you can make of it what you will, and feel free to disagree. But I just think it helps to give the context. So I was looking, and I noticed that he had posted a lot on his own profile, talking about how Shinobi Sasquatch, a Indiegogo campaign, a Comicsgate campaign. It's got that fantastic artist that I'm extremely envious of, Rob Willis, working on it. And apparently it's been late, like it's not been fulfilled yet. I had no clue, which I should have got a clue when I think about it. Rob Willis is posting a lot of his progress that he's having with the comic. So it's like, oh, that should have been like dawned on me that's a thing. So, but apparently, the book is not done yet, and this guy was not pleased with that, and which segues back to me, because I had did some fan art of Shinobi Sasquatch, and so this guy did not like the Shinobi Sasquatch, the Wildcat, the Fox, or the Hero, Hiro. Didn't like none of that. He thought it was crap. And so I didn't take it negatively, and I must have spit on this page. I hate that. Despise that. It's nasty, nasty. But now it has my DNA on it. So hypothetically, if I go through life and become an Edgar Allan Poe, then this will be worth a lot of money. So anyway, I'm talking about the troll right now. The troll who lives under the bridge and has access to the internet. So I'm talking to the troll, and here's how I choose to reply. Like, I'm not perfect. I have my days when I fall short of all these things that I preach about, which is quite often. but I decide to meet what he said with a little bit of love. And let me give y'all some advice for whatever it's worth. If you encounter trolls in your life, please, this is exactly like, if you ever watched, have you seen Gremlins? Have you watched Gremlins? Go watch Gremlins because it's a good movie. But in Gremlins, there's this little furry guy. He's a Mogwai, and his name is Gizmo. And when Gizmo is given to this boy, there's a set of rules that comes with Gizmo. You can't. I don't think you can feed him chicken. You can't feed him after midnight, and do not get him wet. And don't get him in daylight. I think there was 4 rules. I feel like there's 3, but I think there's 4. And all 4 of those rules were broken, of course. Oh man, I'm not getting a lot of room for a lot of this other stuff that I'm trying to draw here. I don't like that. That's a bunch of crap. We don't even get to see that cool hand that I was kind of working on. So the reason I bring that up is, it's the same thing with trolls. Do not. Here's CB's rules for dealing with trolls. Whatever you do not feed the trolls. That is rule number 1. That is the most important rule. When you're dealing with someone that is narcissistic, someone that is sadistic, someone that has problems in their life, someone that is broken, they can either one or two things. Either this person is mentally ill, is going through terrible things in their life at this point, or maybe they got low intelligence and they don't know how to cope socially. And there's like a plethora of reasons, or where they fall at. Anyone can become a troll at any given moment. And this troll, as I was saying, don't feed the troll. And the way when you're met with negativity, the troll wants you to be negative back. The troll wants you to get defensive. The troll wants you to get angry. The troll wants you to get sad. And it feeds off that. And the more you feed the troll, the bigger and more emboldened the troll becomes. And then eventually things get so bad that the troll will destroy you, the troll will take you down with them. And that makes them feel good, or it makes them feel accomplished, or it makes them feel a little bit better about themselves. I don't know. It depends. It differs troll by troll. And so that's rule number 1. Do not feed the troll. And if you do interact with the troll, keep it short and, meet it with positivity. Give the opposite of what the troll wants. Always give the opposite. And rule number 3, and this is the best rule of thumb when it comes to dealing with trolls, don't say anything at all. Just let them ramble and rant and talk to themselves. And that is the worst thing that can happen to them. They cannot stand that. They cannot stand to be ignored. And eventually the troll begins to shrink, and they get shorter and little, until eventually they feel so demasculated that they go look for another target to try to feed off of, so that way they can get big again, So anyway, I chose to respond to the troll saying that my art was crap by saying the following, and I'm paraphrasing here. It was half a paragraph, and I said, well, thanks for the input. At least, hopefully, the most that could come out of this is maybe my art could be used for compost and fertilizer, and maybe we could grow like some good corn, grow some corn out of that, some peas, cucumbers, potatoes. Some potatoes would be nice. I like potatoes, and that was it. Okay, and then the troll wrote back a day later, and the troll just wasn't having any of my comedy, for whatever reason. It just couldn't even see the humor. And the troll was like, "Well, to be honest, your art, if you're over 25, uh, you need to stop right now because you're just wasting your time. You're just wasting your time." And so, I mean, like, there's really no hope for you. I mean, this your art is terrible. It is terrible. And if you're like a teenager, there might be some hope for you, but man, this stuff is bad. That's pretty much, like the shtick of what they wrote, give or take. And so Troll is laying it on thick on me. So how did I choose to respond to that? Which I did, of course. I wrote back and I said, I'm 12. Um, so you think my art is bad? I probably shouldn't have done that. That was dumb. Uh, but there's reasons why I'd done that. I was kind of curious how he replied, and I feel like, you know, he wants someone to kick, but there's like psychological studies that and this isn't always true, so please don't test this. But like if you're like being attacked or whatever, and you're being beaten up, if you get into a fetal position on the ground, what time people are stumping the life out of you, and please don't take this advice. This is just some psychological study that I read. Uh, that if you're in a fetal position and people are attacking you and stomping you, whatever, eventually, and a little bit more quickly, they'll give up on it because psychologically, there is something about that is off-putting, very, very off-putting, and I can't remember the exact reasons why. So I kind of did the version of that by telling him that I was 12 years old and do you think my art is bad? So some of you might be like getting kind of curious now. What did the troll write back? Well, he wrote me back a day later. We got this day later type of correspondence going on. And he said, and I quote, I paraphrase to the best of my ability. Oh, you're 12? 12? Well then, you actually got some kind of neat ideas going on there. But you lack proper foundation. You really need to get like Ernie Bogart's book on anatomy and you need to really work to build a solid foundation and where you're like 12, you got a lot going for you, and so blah blah blah. And I wrote the troll back, and I said, oh wow, thanks, gee willikers. I ain't word for word, but I was like, thanks. So you think my anatomy is the biggest weak point and all this other stuff? I really appreciate all the advice. And the troll writes back and he starts telling me, he just basically kind of reiterated, what he already said about, I need a proper foundation, stuff like that, which that's true. He is actually totally correct about that, 110%, and I really do need to work on my anatomy, you know. So I actually agree with the troll. I guess my only point of issue is how you choose to express it. You know, if you're trying to say things to hurt me or bring me down, you know, I mean, like, well, that sucks. I mean, you know, why do that? You know. Um, but I had fun with him, and at the end of the day, I kind of felt bad, you know, because now he's thinking that he's affected this 12-year-old boy, you know. But at the same time, he was being kind of a dick, you know. So I guess it all works out. But who knows? I'll probably, you know, check on him from time to time, you know, because I think deep down he's probably a good guy. Honestly, I think deep down he's just somebody that, you know, life's not working out for him for one reason or another, and he needs to express himself in that way, you know. And I've met people that's like that, you know, and you never know what people are going through, you know. And I think the other thing to keep in mind, even though I'm denigrating him and calling him a troll, and I'm being a little bit of a hypocrite, you know, there's something about the internet that keeps us from being human beings, that separates us, even though it brings us closer than ever. And I think there's something about the internet that makes things very impersonal. Or that's not the right word. That makes things. I don't know. I don't know how to phrase it. It dehumanizes people. The way I try to conduct myself as a human being, and it doesn't always work out like this, but if I'm on the internet, I try to talk to people and say things the same way that I would in public. That is kind of scary, because if I do the things, say the things I do on the show, which is exactly the same how I do in public, what does that say about me? I don't know. But anyway, I think everybody should just conduct themselves how they do in real life, the same on the internet. But that's not how people do it. People become emboldened on the internet, and they become somebody different. That used to be kind of a cool thing back in the '90s, when you can reinvent yourself and all this other stuff. And but then that turned into a TV show called Catfish. um, but anyway, man, this is a tiny bed, and maybe you know, the perspective's off. Hell, I need to ask that troll how I need to draw this. He'd probably give me some good advice now. But anyway, you just, you know, on the internet, it just, you know, people just dehumanize people. You know, they dehumanize themselves by the way they act. You know, and it's a shame. You know, I think everyone should just conduct themselves the same way that they do in real life on the internet. And I think if you do that, everyone will be much more kinder and polite to each other. But if you get on Facebook or even Twitter and stuff like that, and people make these public announcements, these public proclamations about what they believe in the most firmest, in the most sound way possible, and it's said in such a blunt, very blunt way. It's not going to go in smooth into anyone's ear. And it makes enemies. It makes enemies where there was none. And if you think, if people said the things that they say on Facebook, if they said that in real life, I mean, like anytime you post on a Facebook post, like you post on your own Facebook, right? That's the exact same thing as like standing in the middle of Walmart and just making a big loud announcement where everybody can hear it. You know, so but people don't think of it like that. You know. Anyway, just interesting food for thought. But I will, in the words of our fantastic Press Secretary, I will circle back. Let me answer some comments because I'm sure that there's some of you who will steer me right and put me on the tried and true path here. Okay. Gee, what we got here? Sideburns writes, good day, evening, and good night, CB. The same to you, friend. Dispain's comic says, don't feed the trolls. Do not feed the trolls. Remember, this is CB's rules. This is the number one rule. Please, whatever you do, do not feed the trolls. And the way that you feed them is either by talking to them, and you have to be really smart and crafty if you choose to do that. Okay? And if you're not smart and crafty, and I'm not really smart and crafty, I just got lucky. But if you're not smart and crafty, you need to do rule number 2, which is ignore them. Or actually that was rule number 3, ignore them. This Bang Comics writes, he who angers you controls you. That's absolutely true. And to be forthcoming, I fail at that horribly, really, really, really bad. Even though this was a successful endeavor with a troll, in real life trolls, the trolls that you work with, the trolls that you encounter on the street, it's a different situation. Where on the internet you can be 10 feet tall and have a shield between you, and you can just turn the computer off anytime you want. In real life, you deal with difficult people and you can't run away. And I'm not throwing that at you. I'm just talking about in general. And I struggle with that. And I remember hearing that quote or seeing that quote, thinking about that quote like months ago. And like one day, the day before I went into work, someone made me incredibly angry. I was so angry that I couldn't even speak English. And I couldn't even speak Kentuckian. It all left me. It all escaped me. It went flying out my mouth. I could barely get a few words out. It took me in this confrontation between these two opposing mindsets. It took me almost 10 minutes to be able to speak effectively. I was proud that I was able to get to that point, even though that's pretty pathetic to say. Disappointed at that I couldn't get to that right away, but when you get so mad, a lot of people react differently. I mean, I was like almost fighting mad, but not quite there. Not quite there. I was just maybe a hair or two away, but I was pretty gassed, I guess. But that's something that I really need to work on. Let's see here. Jeremy Burtz writes, you should never feel like you've already peaked as an artist. That's true. Absolutely true. I've got, and Lord, I hope I didn't say that in this in this show. But me personally, how I feel about my peak, I don't even think I've reached it yet, and I feel like I'm still in the gutter. Like I'm still in this weird place where just like the troll said, the troll had real stuff to say, and he spoke the truth. My fundamentals is really lacking, and I need to work on that. And and I got a long way to go. Got a long way to go. I often think to myself, sometimes I think, I need to take a break on working on comics and all this other stuff, so I can actually work on the fundamentals, work on my perspective and drawing the ladies and drawing anatomy, working on my faces and getting the style and stuff down and all this other stuff, But then I get torn because I start thinking, then I'll get behind on getting good at making comics, because the only way to get good at making comics is to make comics. It's crazy thing, and I get stuck in this vicious cycle. And so the only thing that I know to do is just keep doing what I'm doing right now, and just, hopefully, with the grace of God, develop a system, and figure out as I go along, and then, as I learn things, as I fail and as I succeed, I try to pass that on to all of you, hopefully. Anyway, so this video isn't about trolls. The title of this video is about letting go, and how that segues, how that fits, is after my interaction with the troll, I started thinking about the fundamentals, because he did offer good advice, and I started thinking about, where I want to, be in my art, in life, what I want to accomplish. And then, here we go with the inception of the mind, I started thinking on all these things, and there's a philosophy, it's something that Taoist practice, which is called I think it's actually pronounced the Dio, but I pronounce it the Tao because it's spelled with a T, Tao. And the whole Taoist philosophy is about letting go. Basically, it's about just embracing life and change, about embracing change, being one with change. Because that's the nature of life. Life is constantly changing, and nothing really stays the same. There's always this illusion that some things change the same, but and there's more contentment in embracing the fact that things change. Sideburns writes, "What are you drawing, CB?" Well, actually, the sketch is a little bit better than how this is turning out so far. You like how I put right here a movie poster? I didn't want to actually try to draw anything in it, I wanted to save a lot of time and effort, so I made a mental note to put movie poster. I'm glad I put that there, because I might not have remembered that, and that's the whole reason I did that. No, tonight I decided to do something different. I've got all these different projects that I'm working on, because I'm a I am a professional jack of all trades, but master of none. And I'm working on the Wildcat anthology. My contribution is almost finished, but actually, I think I'm going to add more pages. Like I'm going to add another story, and that type of thing, because I want to make a good anthology. I want everybody. I want everybody to do well, and I want the book to do well. And I feel like by the book doing well, everyone else would do well. I want it to be a hit. I don't expect to sell like 500 copies, 400, 300, 200, 100. I don't know. But I just want to get it out there, and I want it to do well, and I want people to pick up that anthology and be like, this is a good book. So I'm working on that. I'm working on the hard case free comic about 4 or 5 pages into that right now, of a possible 3-issue series, 3 or 4 issue series. I figured that I would do just that 1 issue of hard case, and I would see how it goes. And based on the reception and how people like it, maybe I would do another another issue, and just keep going on like that until I told the story that I was wanting to tell with it. And the whole reason I was, doing that is, more people know who Hardcase is than Wildcat. Not a lot of people, honestly, but but there is a Malibu Comics Ultraverse forum where you know people talk about their love of Prime and Rune and all these different things, Sludge, and I thought that'd be a great way to build an audience for my art and hopefully segues into Wildcat. So I got those two projects, the Wildcat anthology, the Hardcase thing. I also I've not forgot about it, the Crimson Frog thing. So that's still sitting around. I've got like, I don't know, about 5 or 6 pages of that sitting, and that's another free comic book project, and that's just like a one issue, one off thing. And I've been dabbling with working on Monster Patrol at my leisure, just kind of throwing it in there and all this other stuff. I like to stay busy. I like switching in and out between different projects, although the anthology is the #1 project right now because that's the most important. And the reason I'm doing it is to keep busy and hopefully get better as an artist, but also some of these is about getting attention, and I also get bored. I think it's another issue, something I struggle with. And like I said, at the beginning of the video, I really do believe that anywhere from over 50% of what we do as comic artists or comic creators is mental. Because here I am talking about getting bored on projects, and if you're getting bored, you're not drawing, obviously, because you're getting drawing slower and slower, or you're not drawing at all. And if that's the case, then you're not making comics. So the philosophical aspect of things is important. At least in my opinion. I'm not a working professional, so take what I say with a grain of salt. But anyway, so I've got 3, 4, 5, 10 billion different projects that I'm working on, and I just want to do something that's purely selfish, that's purely just for me, without the expectation of anyone else, like waiting for it to come out at Christmas or I don't know, just all these expectations and all these other things. It's just something like I just want to do. I've made no promises, and there's something liberating about that. And so what I'm drawing right now, gosh, that was, what is a 10-minute explanation. What I'm working on right now is page 6 or 7 of Wildcat Dead Man Walking. And basically, in the first couple of pages of Wildcat Dead Man Walking, my character Wildcat is getting murdered by these mysterious characters. And I'm thinking the way that it will segue is the fox here is she's actually dreaming about it, which I thought was kind of neat. She'll be dreaming about it, it's a nightmare, and she wakes up. So this thing that happened 10, 20 years ago, she's dreaming about it now. And she wakes up, and basically I want to bring people into her world. Let's see. Alarm clock going off, and kind of good morning face going on there, and then we get into her getting up out of the bed. I know these drawings are crude. I can draw like 10% better than what you see here. And then here's a shot of her up and walking, playing with her phone, brushing her teeth, and getting out and going to school. And then from there, you know, when I do pacing, when I actually write things myself, I do like a logical progression, and people in movies and television do this. Not all of them. Some of them like to cut stuff out for pacing or whatever. But I like seeing, you know, and I think there's a way to do things without making it boring. But you know, you're watching the character get up out of bed and go do their thing, and you're learning about the character as this is happening, you know, because there might be some inner monologue or whatever, or maybe the narrator's telling the story. And so here she is in a pickup truck. She's going to the school. Here she is driving, and then this is like the front entrance of the school. And this must be somebody walking. I don't know, whatever. And then here we get a shot of the Mean Girls. So we got the Mean Girls, and one of them says "nice truck." I made a mental note to put that in there. And here she is watching them walk away as she's still in the truck. And I don't know. I was thinking if I can flip through here. Got a lot of bad and good art in here, you know. This sketchbook has actually gotten old now. Oh, this is actually based off a real girl on Instagram. I was wanting to use her as a model for. There's actually like 3 girls that I'm wanting to use for the model for the Fox. I really like this girl's facial expressions, and I never can really capture the essence of it, you know. This was just a page study of what's his face. I think it's Daniel Warren Johnson. I could be wrong. I'm flipping through. Oh, this is me trying to teach my son the alphabet. A is for apple, B is for Batman. Oh, wow. Crimson Frog page. It was. Let's see. I'm trying to flip through it quickly. Not very professional. I'm trying to show you something, okay? I really am. Here's a project that got. This was a secret project I was working on with somebody, and it just never panned out, you know. Would have really loved to have done this. I think it would have been really cool. This is like hypothetical, you know, page something or other. I don't know. Let's see. Come on, come on. Come on, get around. Smile on your brother. Right now. Here we go. It only took me like 10 minutes to get here, but you know. All right, so after the page that I just showed you that I was working on, no, after those first couple of pages of, you know, the Fox waking up, going to school and all that crap, I think on her way to school, I was wanting to do something like this, where this would be changed to a truck and all this other stuff. And, you know, cameras panning as the vehicle's driving away, some cans knocking in the road. We get a close-up of, if focus camera. We didn't got time for this. We got a close-up shot of a crow or a raven, take your pick, and it's sitting on something. And here, get another shot of it. And then here, and I know I never finished it, but like, what's the finish? I mean, I don't say that arrogantly. What I mean is like, I got the idea of what's going to go on this page, but we got all these crows popping out of nowhere, just filling up the area, and then we've got the sign, of the city that the fox lives in. This is where she's driving to. And then these are like crows. Going to go be here, and some probably put some crows there. Just crows everywhere, And I thought that would just be really neat, And then it goes to her going to the school and all this other stuff. A lot of this stuff is, I'm just going to be drawing pages, and my methodology about it is I'm going to draw as many pages as I can, and I'm going to put cool stuff in, and anything that's not up to par, I may redraw it or take it out, or whatever. It's all about making the best comic that I can, and not getting attached to anything, just trying to do really good work, Even this page, it may not even make it in the comic, Sideburns writes, neat sketchbook. I like the cat drawing and your female faces. I really appreciate it. Thank you. I've had people tell me that, the faces that I draw for men and women is like one of the best things that I do. So that's pretty cool. It's good to be good at something, I want to get to the point where, like, where when I draw the bodies, that the bodies are the bee's knees as well, so that way I can make my troll happy, and I'll be happy. So getting back on topic, I was talking about the art of letting go, and talking about Taoist, where their whole thing is about letting go. That's pretty much that whole religion, that theology, that philosophy. Depends on how you look at it, There's some Taoists that practice archery, and when they pull back the bow, pulling back the bow, and they shoot the bow, and right before the moment of release, they no longer focus on aiming at the target or any of that stuff. They get in this moment called Zen, which Zen, a layman's term for Zen in Western terms would be the zone. Like when you're playing basketball or whatever, and you get in the zone, and just every right before you shoot that basketball, it's going in the hoop. It's just going to happen, and you don't know how you know that, but right before it leaves your hands, it's going swish, and it does. It's crazy, That's part of being in the zone, where your body mechanics, where your skills, where you're working in harmony with your opponent, and all these other things, the speed, all this stuff comes together. It creates the zone, and that's sort of like what, in some ways, what Japanese and Chinese and Asian Zen is like, that same thought process. And these Taoists, right before they shoot their bows, they pull them back and they fire away. They let go. They just let go in terms mentally of trying to hit the target. They no longer care whether they hit or miss. It's more about the release in that moment. And they're actually pretty good archers. So there must be something to that. I know, like musicians, for example, Kirk Hammett of Metallica. I think he's really big in Taoism. I'm not for sure, but I do believe he believes in that. at least on some level. He applies that to guitar with mixed results, if I am to be honest, if I'm going to be his troll for the night. And which to me, a troll is someone that is trying to destroy you and hurt you and bring you down, you know. So I guess I'm not really a troll in that regard, you know. The most excellent Randy writes us, says, "Hey CB, what's up, Paul? I can't speak for everyone else, but I'm sitting here working on a random page of Wildcat Dead Man Walking. Just trying to do something that's selfish, just for me, just something that passion project that I really enjoy doing, that I look forward to doing, that I feel like I'm in full control over, and you know, there's something about that control too. That's an issue, you know. And tonight's episode is about letting go, and I was talking a little bit about Taoist and their whole thing. There is a Buddhist saying, a Buddhist practice, and I probably screw this up, so bear with me. They believe in something called, according to Buddha, the 8 worldly winds. The 8 worldly winds. And so some of you may ask, you know, what the heck is the 8 worldly winds? Well, I'm glad that you asked. The 8 worldly winds are, goes from positive to negative. It is praise, blame. It is recognition, and I can't remember the other word, but we'll say being ignored. It is gain and loss, and it's pleasure and sorrow. All right, so I have to loosen my belt up here. I'm a bit of a fatty. Oh, it's killing me. That's much better. So anyway, that is the 8 worldly winds according to Buddha. Now, why is that important? Why is that relevant to what we're talking about? Well, according to Buddha, he says that in life that we are a slave. Most people are a slave to to outside circumstances. So, in the essence of praise, blame, gain and loss, of pleasure, of sorrow, and of recognition and being ignored and all this other stuff, each one of these produces an emotion in us. If someone praises us, does it not make us happy? If someone blames us, does it not make us either sad, guilty, or mad? You know, if we have gain, do we not get happy? If we get if we have loss in our life, if we lose something, do we not get sad or frustrated or angry? And so forth and so on. You can go through the 8 worldly winds and apply that same logic. So, you know, the idea behind Buddhism is to separate yourself from these things that are influencing your mind, you know, that are hijacking your well-being. Because you're allowing the outside world to have influence over the inside of you, you know. Does that make sense? I know it sounds really dumb, but bear with me. There's another Buddhist story, and this will help give you insight of what I'm trying to say. There's a man and he's just walking around in the woods doing God knows what. I don't know. He might be hunting. He might be probably just walking. In this story, we're going to say he's just walking. He's just enjoying nature. Well, on this eventful day, nature struck back. There's a tiger in the forest, and it's stalking him, and he takes off running, and the tiger is chasing him, and things are just not going his way. Things are just not going well. And as he's running from this tiger, he falls into this big hole. Now, I don't know what created the hole, but he's in a hole. And as he's falling, he grabs a branch. All right, so he's hanging on this branch for dear life. This tiger is up above the hole, just circling and looking down and, just making these, evil sounding purring noises, And as this is going on, down below, he sees a snake. Not just any snake, because this is his lucky day. It is the world's most poisonous snake. So he's got the world's most poisonous snake waiting at the bottom of this pit. And above him, he's got this tiger. But you know what? He's just hanging there. But of course, his luck is the worst. And I don't know why, but for some reason, two mice come out and they get on this root or stick that he's hanging on, this branch, and they start to chew on it. And the branch is getting weaker. So either way, he's screwed. If he tries to climb out of the pit, the tiger's going to maul him and eat him. Or if he ends up falling or jumping down into the pit, the snake will surely bite him and kill him. Or, the choice will be made for him because the freaking the meese are going to saw away his root or branch he's hanging on, and he's going to fall down where the snake's at anyway. And in the Buddhist story about the man, the tiger, the snake, and the mice, as he's hanging there on the branch, there is a beehive. Oh gosh, sounds like it's getting worse. But there is a beehive above him in some tree hanging above him. And there's honey that's dripping off of it. And in that moment, that man sticks his tongue out and he just eats the honey as it drips. Now, some people would be like, well, that's pretty stupid. And maybe it is. But you have to think about the circumstances of what he's in, I mean, what can he do other than just to hang on? And in that moment, that man chose to do something that he was in control of. He couldn't control the tiger. He couldn't control the snake or the mice. He couldn't control whether he fell or climbed out of the, can't climb out of the hole, but at that moment, he had very little control whether he continued to live or die. But what he could control is his mood, how he chose to look at things. And he chose to take the small itty bitty thing of honey and find pleasure in the worst circumstance of his life in that moment. Well, maybe it's not the worst circumstance. I can think of worser things, but he chose something that would give him pleasure or relief in that moment. And so he would just, lick the honey as it fell from the beehive. Eventually in the Buddhist story, the way it goes is as time passed on, the tiger got restless and it accidentally fell into the hole, broke its neck, fell on the snake, killed it. And then the man just climbed out of the hole, And in the parable of what Buddha or whatever was saying about the 8 worldly winds, of gain and loss, blame and praise and blame, of recognition and being ignored, and of pleasure and sorrow. The reason they're called the eight worldly winds is because just like the wind, these things all come and go. These things just they don't stick with you. You could be happy right now and tomorrow you can be sad, because of something that's happening in the world or in your life. And the circumstances of your life are going to change each and every day, moment by moment, how you feel about things or whatever. And I guess the Buddha was trying to teach not to be a slave to those circumstances. That when life gets rough like that, that instead of letting the circumstances of your life dictate and influence your mood, to take charge of your life by the simple fact of like you choose how you feel. You make the conscious decision of how you feel about anything in any given moment. Not react, but make the decision, which is two totally different things. Most of us, including myself, react to life. We react to external stimulus. And the idea is to make the conscious mental effort to choose how you feel about something, to either look on the bright side or just kind of go to a neutral place or whatever, which is ultimately where Buddhism wants to go. That's one of the things that I don't like about Buddhism is sometimes they take it too far, because I think as human beings we need to feel. We need to feel. We need to be a James T. Kirk. We need to be a Dr. McCoy. We need to feel. Damn it. So we shouldn't purge ourselves of emotions. But the one good thing about Buddhism is about, you need to be in charge of your emotions, not your emotions be in charge of you. The fantastic one, Jan, is here. Hello, good sir. So, we talked about Taoists, of how they basically just practice the art of letting go, emptying the mind, and just being in the moment. We talked about the story of the man and the tiger and the freaking the mice, and of the eight worldly winds and how they all impact us and influence us and stuff. Taking it a step further, if we look at Western philosophers, look at, I believe it's Alan Watts. Don't quote me on that, but we'll go ahead and say that anyway. But if we look at Alan Watts kind of talks about the same thing. And he says, he talks about the backwards law. The backwards law. And this starts to get interesting. Let me get my charger right quick. Boom, boom. All right. Ugh. Since I unbuckled my belt, I'm walking around like a slob. My pants will fall off of me. All right. How are we going to do this? Come here, phone. Get your charge on. Yun says, if I can get it to pop up here. Working on the Wildcat short story for the anthology. It's 1500 here, which I'm not sure what 1500 is military time. See, 1300 is 1 o'clock, 1400, 2 o'clock. So it's like 3. It's like 3 something, I think. So anyway, all right. So going from the Buddhist and the Taoist stuff, talking about Alan Watts, and I believe Alan Watts is this guy who came up with the backwards law. So what the heck is the backwards law, and why does it relate to what the fish sticks we're talking about? Well, as far as I understand, and the best way I can explain it from my limited knowledge, is the backwards law is basically um, have you ever pursued something in your life? Okay, like pursued it like really hardcore, really heavy, right? And it just seemed like the harder you tried, the further away you got from making that happen, you know? And according to the backwards law, if you want to achieve success, you need to quit pursuing that goal. You need to let go and no longer concern yourself with accomplishing that goal for the most part. I mean, that's not the right way to say it, but that is one interpretation of it. And when I think about the backwards law in how it applies to me and stuff, I'm a very goal oriented. I'm very focused on trying to make something of myself as a comic artist, and then I have these, whether I admit to it or not, I do have these expectations of when I do like for example the Wildcat Indiegogo. I'll use that as an example. When I do stuff like that, I had an expectation of like surely I would get funded, and maybe worst case scenario, I would just get meet at the $1,500 limit. Best case scenario, maybe $3,000, maybe 10,000. All these different things. And forgive me if it all sounds vain, but there's a hunger in me at that time, and that hunger is still there. Where like I'm just tired, sick and tired of working for the man, because when not in all cases, but I feel like in probably most cases, who knows, when you work for other people, well, for corporations and different things like that, not to get all socialist, but I guess I will. But when you when you work for a lot of corporations and different things, they don't really appreciate you. They really don't appreciate the effort and the time that you put into things. Where I live at, and I don't know if it's the same where you guys and gals live at, but around here culturally, and this is a weird thing. Well, maybe not. People, they pay you for a job as they should, and you do the job as you should. But if you go above and beyond, um, you know, the a lot of times they won't say anything, they won't notice, and then sometimes they expect you to, that they expect that to become the new norm. But for a halfway decent boss, the most you can expect around here is you'll get praise. And I used to be a person, because I was really steeped into how I was raised, and also steeped into Bushido, not bull like Bull, but Bushido, and it was this uh, way of the warrior, type of thing, where it's about practicing fidel piety and being in total obedience and respect to your employer, your warlord, and all this other stuff, and yada yada yada. I was like that for a very long time, But then I found out that that's never really appreciated or reciprocated in where I live at, and you know, you end up. I mean, maybe for you, it may be an entirely different case, and if it is, I'm really happy for you, and that's not me being sarcastic. But in my case, I don't have much to show for it, and so nowadays, when I do have the best case scenario bosses, and I go above and beyond, and then they try to praise me. My thing is like, your praise does not pay my bills. I want to, give me a raise. That's how you know, in a workplace show appreciation ultimately. Praise does not pay or put food on the table at all. I sound really petty right now, but it's just, I'm just spitballing as I'm going. So anyway, in Alan Watts's whole big thing about uh, um, the backwards law, and you can Google it, and you probably get a better paraphrasing, or actually not a paraphrasing, but the actual thing. But he believed that when you're pursuing your life goals or whatever it is that you're wanting and stuff like that, by pursuing those things and then coming up short, you're always looking at what you don't have as opposed to what you have. You're actually making yourself more miserable in the process. And according to the backwards law, and some people can misinterpret it. The backwards law is not about giving up on your goals and ambitions. That's not what it's about at all. What it is about, in my opinion, is about mm, still pursuing whatever those dreams, ambitions are, but at the same time, let go of your ambitions as far as like um, hell, I don't know. Let's say like you want to be president one day. And there's all these steps you got to take. Some people, it used to be, you would go into military service and, get that on your record and stuff. And you can use that to run on, locally or whatever, work your way up to Senate and all sort of stuff, or maybe governor. Spend some time doing charity work and all this other stuff. And you got all these, do all this crap and do all these things, whatever. And CB, you said doing charity work is crap. Well, come on, you're missing the point. Point is to be president. So anyway, yes, I think Sideburns is helping me out here. Let go of the outcome. Yes, exactly. Perfect. Thank you so much. Oh yes, you have no idea. It's you took the words that I was struggling to get to, and you found it so simply. I'm jealous. Um, let go of the outcome. That's what the backwards law is all about. It's about letting go of the outcome, and that's my problem. I don't know if it's any of your all's problem, but I'm so obsessed with the outcome, and I think part of that, in my defense, if it means anything, is I'm just tired of working for the man. I just want to get my career going. I don't expect to be a millionaire right away or to ever be a millionaire from it. I don't expect to make $10,000 or $3,000 or whatever, but I do expect or have expected, my career to just get underway. And it seems like it just, it's just floundering, it's just kind of doing its own thing. And the backwards law is about letting go of those things I was just talking about, letting go of the expected outcomes and just about working toward those goals and just being in that moment. In going back to Eastern philosophy, and comparing it to Western philosophy, Eastern guys, when they go and they see a pretty flower in the field, they bend over and they smell the flower and they think about the smell. They look at the color, how it reflects in the light or whatever. They think about this and that. They're very, very present. A lot of Eastern philosophers. Western philosophy wants to take it a step beyond, like, what came first? Was it the seed or the flower? And how does this and that and blah blah blah? They get really, really heavy into it. Whereas most Eastern philosophy is about being present and being in that moment, you know. And I think that's part of the backwards law. I think that's part of the eight worldly winds and the advice about the tiger and the man and the beehive and all that crap is being present in that moment, because the nature of life is it changes. It's constantly changing, and you can't control that. And if you could, then life itself wouldn't really be life. Now, would it? It'd be something different, and it'd be something that you might not want to exist in. And so if you embrace the fact that life changes and then kind of flow with it, there's a contentment to have with that. Now, I'm careful about my words because I don't want to say happiness, because for me, happiness is, especially in my youth, it was like a roller coaster ride. I no longer want happy. I want content. Want to be content, because once you ride that happy train, you can go really far up in the roller coaster of life, and then eventually you got to come crashing down. Focus, camera. Nobody can't see that fantastic feathering that I'm doing. So, in the eight worldly winds, bringing it back to that, according to Buddha, the whole thing about these things controlling you, and instead of you controlling them, like if in the eight worldly winds, if you're praised, you react to it emotionally. If you're blamed, you react to it emotionally. If you experience gain, you react to it emotionally. If you experience loss, you react to it emotionally. So forth and so on, all through the eight worldly winds. But according to Buddha, just like the wind, all these emotions, all these things that happen, pass like the wind. And so he recommends that you be more like a tree or a rock or something. But in one of the parables I saw, it was a tree. And just like the tree, how the wind blows through the tree's still there. And so you just need to be there. Now, I wouldn't suggest like you purge yourself of all emotion, but I do recommend controlling those emotions. Controlling them in a sense of like understanding that you are your own person. You own you. You might not control what happens in the world, but you can control how you react to it and how you feel about it, to a certain extent anyway. And so in tonight's long-winded video is about letting go, all of it, the Taoist, the eight worldly winds, Alan Watts's backwards law, my troll. All right. See, it looks kind of odd there, but if I hold it this way, maybe it looks a little better. So I guess in summary, what I'm wanting to do, me personally, is I want to get to a place where I'm letting go of my expectations, because they're driving me crazy, and just kind of being, I don't know I don't know where my comic book future is going to go. I mean, I do believe that if you keep applying pressure and you just keep doing something, doing something, doing something, for the most part, not in all things, but for most things, eventually you're going to achieve a result. Then the question is, what kind of result will it be? Um, but according to a lot of these Eastern philosophies, don't worry so much about what that result is going to be. Just live, go and live, and adapt to it and change with it. Now I'm going to use an example, and just off the top of my head as it hits me, and I think this is really good reflection of the whole Dio thing that I'm talking about. Um, about gosh, I don't know how long ago it's been. 5 years ago, maybe, give or take. Could be wrong. We had a superstar comic artist named Ethan Van Sciver, who was um, working on Green Lantern, got lots of praise about his work on Green Lantern, and everybody loved him and thought he was the best thing since sliced bread. And I mean, it's true. I mean, it's not what people say now. I mean, well, it depends on who you ask. I think that's part of the trouble. It depends on who you ask. Uh, but then, basically, people found out that he was Republican, and they started treating him differently. He had editors that didn't want to work with him no more. He had a writer, a coworker, actually outed him a lot and sent her followers to make his life miserable, basically, and all this other stuff. And one thing led to another, and basically, he kind of was forced out of DC Comics and left. Would be a dream gig, I guess, to some people. And he had to start over, working, doing Cyberfrog. Now, for some people, that would have just destroyed them. They just would have just laid over and took it, maybe begged to get their job back. Maybe, I don't know. I don't know. It just they just would have been stuck in that moment. But he chose to take a big risk and just like, hey, I'm just going to go back and start working on this comic that I've not worked on in decades, just revive it. And then he decided that he was going to throw himself headlong into the whole Comicsgate movement and do that. Because since a lot of his enemies were calling him Comicsgate anyway, he just embraced it and owned it. And then fast forward to now, skipping a lot of stuff. $1 million comic book campaign. I think it was like 11,000 backers, which is pretty good. Pretty good, really good, actually. For a Indiegogo or a Kickstarter type of deal. And the point of me bringing it up, it's not so much whether you like Ethan Van Sciver or whether you don't. That's not the point. Which I like Ethan Van Sciver. But anyway, that's me. But whether you like him or not, that's not the point. The point is to learn from his example. It's not about joining Comicsgate or not joining Comicsgate or any of that stuff. If you're focused on that, you're missing the point. That's not the point. The point is this guy was in the river of life and stuff happened to him. And instead of trying to stay in that spot where he clearly could not stay because the momentum was shifting in a different direction, he just adapted to it. And he's actually way better off now than how he was before. He's making money off of YouTube. He's making money off his action figures, off his super chats, off his off his comic itself. Eventually, he's making money off of printing other people's comics. He's finding more and more ways, and he's also getting residual money from royalties from his work at DC and Marvel. And he's finding more and more ways to make money. He's not staying stagnant. He's not, stuck in the past. He's not practicing the inception of the mind, which I am a master of. I'm the master of it. And so that's what I'm talking about. Let's see. Randy writes, if you asked Ethan, he'll tell you he's better than sliced bread. Well, I don't know. That could be true. I did hear once that Betty White was actually born before the creation of sliced bread. And so the argument is that maybe we should be saying things differently. Maybe we should say, that sliced bread it is better than Betty White. I don't know. Jerry Bird says Ethan is fat. That's true. I think he's, fat is a sign of prosperity. If you look at a lot of, I don't know if this really relates to gout or not, but a lot of kings and queens and people during ancient times that were the heads of powerful families, they all suffer from gout. Yeah. I'm not saying that Ethan Skyver has gout, but the point is, if you're well fed, you're making money, or you've done really well with the food stamps. Either way, I'm happy for you. Abe says, hey y'all, glad to have you here, sir. And for those of you that's just now tuning in, I don't know if you've missed a good show or not. I never know what a good show is. Sometimes I think I do good, and other times I didn't do too hot. But tonight's show is about letting go. We've talked about Buddhism. We've talked about Taoist. We talked about Alan Watts. And we talked about trolls and gremlins. One time I'm thinking about it, because I want to mention it before I forget, is there's a topic that I am wanting to talk about, but I keep talking myself out of it, because I'm like thinking, well, hell, they don't want to hear about this stuff. This is kind of dumb, because I've told two friends of mine, maybe three, about this. It's not an epiphany. Well, maybe it is. It's all about Superman. And so whenever I go about doing, the next episode or the one after that, do you want to hear my big epiphany one day of Superman? And before you answer, I am I've been contemplating like doing a really good video edit to illustrate the point that I'm wanting to make about whatever it is that I'm trying to get across about Superman, that I think is philosophically worthy of having a conversation about, So either look forward to that or dread that with all your heart. I plan on talking about that in the future. I keep talking myself out of it though, because I'm like, people's gonna think this is dumb as hell. And I've said a lot of dumb stuff, but this one may top it. Sipping the water. Randy says, it's been very good. I like the philosophical stuff. we're that's great because we're philosophical brothers. We're bonded by the philosophy of life. And he also says yes to Superman. Let's see if we can zoom this out so we can get a wonderful gander at what it is I'm trying to do. Can I turn this any? Will this cooperate? Probably not. Let me just do this. Hopefully. I don't know how I feel about this page. It's just, I'm not feeling it. I'm not feeling it at all. The only choice I got is just to keep drawing. That's the only thing I know to do. I mean, my choices are so far, I'm just going to keep drawing, and then I'll finish it. And then my next choice would be to either throw it away and start over, or just throw it away. How you like them options? Just everything's throw it away, basically. So in the whole Wildcat Dead Man Walking thing that I'm working on, and losing my train of thought here like a mother trucker, but in the Wildcat Dead Man Walking story arc that I'm doing, I'm working real hard to tell a story that has many twists and turns. That's really interesting. There's going to be a lot of stuff in it that sets up for the second trade and for the third trade and the fourth trade. So yeah, I'm really focused on leaving like breadcrumbs. To leave some things to where you can get excited. And be like, oh, why'd you do this, and why'd this happen, and all this other stuff. That's my goal. That's what I hope. Oh, I need to let go though. That's the whole point of this episode. I'm making up a chant as I go along. I'm letting go. I don't know if it's working, but I hope so. I need to let go. I need to let go. Oh man. But anyway, it is my non-Buddhist hope that I can tell a story that I think everybody's going to be excited about. And so I've spent a lot of time grieving over this story, trying to figure out, where the heck all the pieces fit, And I'm coming up with some really rad solutions, and I don't want to talk about it too much because I feel like it's one of these things where like, again, the inception of the mind, where you're either daydreaming or committing yourself to mental misery over your shortcomings, and don't forgot whatever. It must not have been that important if I got it that quick. I think what it is, I'm getting focused on what I'm drawing here. I'm putting all these little doodads in, but I really am. I'm excited for the Wildcat Dead Man Walking thing. I really, really am. I think it's going to be really cool. I hope it's going to be really cool. A lot of my biggest hang-ups about it is, trying to make sure that visually everything looks great, and also story-wise, everything just makes sense and flows well, and can keep everyone's interest. I saw a post by a guy. Let's see, what is his name? John Malin. John Malin. There we go. I'm terrible with names. I saw a post by a guy named John Malin. He was talking about there's all these indie creators that are putting out projects, and when they get done and with their artwork and stuff like that. Um, it basically, a lot of their stuff only looks like they put 60% effort in it, you know. And I left a comment about it, and then somebody else shared it, and they were and they agreed with it. And then I realized that I think there's some truth to that, but I also believe that writing wise, I'm seeing a lot of indie projects where people's not spending enough time writing wise, really thinking about their characters, you know, and the situations that they put them in, the pacing, all this stuff, you know, does it make sense? You know, I think that's another thing. And I think I'm too much of a stickler for that. But like I'm one of these guys, when I watch a movie, I want to get lost in it. I really want to enjoy it and immerse myself in it. And subconsciously, my mind is always asking, does that make sense? You know, why in the world would he give away Captain America's shield? Why in the world does this character not have a GoFundMe so he can pay for his boat? So, focus. So that's kind of my mindset. You know, I think it's got to be both. You know, it's not just the art. It's the writing. It's the inking, which the inking's part of the art too. It's the colors, which that's part of the art as well. You know, there's a lot of people that put 60% effort in. You know, and I think, you know, when you're working on your own comics, you should put 100%, 110%, you know, go beyond what you're capable of, you know. That's what I'm trying to do. I come up short, I know, but I'm working on it. I'm working on it. And I know I'm going all over the place on this page, you know. I'm just trying to get as much as I can in here, you know. You know, tonight I could have worked on the anthology, and I put a lot of work into it so far and stuff. But I want to do something just selfish for me, you know, just a little bit, you know, because this is something that I enjoy. Let's see. Spain's Comics writes, humor and heart are the two tried and true ingredients for a good story. Don't be afraid to risk sentimentality. Yes, indeed. Yeah, it's something that I'm trying to put in. I want the Wildcat depth. It's kind of ambitious. I think I can pull it off. I really do. Maybe that's overconfidence, but we'll see. I'll get spanked one way or another. But I want Wildcat Dead Man Walking to be like a mix between Walking Tall, Phantasm, uh, with a dash of Twin Peaks, um, a lot of Blazing Saddles, Army of Darkness, with a nice helping of Wolverine and the Max. Yeah, that's what I want. Randy writes, I put in 60% effort 100% of the time, so at least I'm consistent. You know what? Consistency is key, you know, as we talk about philosophy. So I think you're on to something there. It's probably better to be consistent than inconsistent, looking at the positive here. I think part of my problem is sometimes I think I'm putting in 100% effort when it's really not. So that's a thing, you know. All right, get in there, get in there, get shaded. Abe writes, I took a small detour and made a Warhammer model. I have one last page, maybe two, to finish our contribution. That's awesome. There is one contributor has sent me the penciled, the inked, and lettered 8-page story of their contribution. It is sitting in the can as we speak. It is aging like fine wine. And so we got them. We got your contribution with your team. We've also got Jan well on the way with his. And let's see, who am I leaving out here? I know I'm leaving somebody out. Most definitely. I'll think about it here in a minute. It'll come to me surely. But everything's coming about really, really nicely with the anthology, and I think it's going to be really cool. And me personally, I think I want to add more pages myself, by adding another story. So I've already got 4 pages of Wildcat fighting a bunch of chainsaw ninjas. So I thought, well, hell, I could do 4 more pages of that. And then I thought about adding another extra story by me, and then I was thinking about the fake funny advertisements to put in it. The creator bios and put things in there where you can promote your stuff and whatever you want to promote, So I've put a lot of thought on all these different things I'm wanting to put in there. And I got some cool ideas that I think that you will really enjoy that I've not mentioned yet because I was wanting to wait to get to a certain point. Being real secretive, I know. But I got cool stuff. Okay, I got cool things. I'm thinking pack of chewing gum. That's not what I'm talking about. But yeah, pack of chewing gum or something. Some wadded up stuff, wadded up wrappers. She's a nasty girl. You nasty. You're nasty. All right, what else? What can I put in here? I think maybe kind of like a watered up cigarette bud. How about a coin of some type? Another. All right. I think we're reaching toward the end of the show. I kind of want to piddle before I go to bed, get on the internet and pontificate. That sounded dirty, but you take it how you will. But anyway, I before I go, I just want to mention a few things. Nothing important or relevant, just interesting stuff. I've been looking into Bitcoin, so I've been doing research into that. And there's a thing called CryptoTab. You can download it for free. I know it's on Android. I don't know if it's on another thing. And you can get Bitcoins for free. Not much. So far, I've got like 10 cents that I've mined. So if you've got any questions about that, just let me know. And also, I'm going to set up an Odyssey account because I don't think it's a good idea to have all your eggs in one basket when it comes to social media. Because things are just so much changing, and I really enjoy Odysseys right now. It's a YouTube alternative. It exists on a blockchain, and and so when something's on a blockchain, it's very, very hard to get rid of. So it's very decentralized, I'm not going to get into all that because that's even more confusing than Taoism and the backwards law and all that other stuff. Um, what else I got to say? Well, I guess that's pretty much it. And I just want to say that I love y'all. I appreciate everything. And no matter what yous are doing, uh, I hope that yous find peace of mind, that you have great success with whatever your projects that you're working on. Keep at it. Life's always going to throw monkey wrenches in your way. I'm here to help you if I can, and I promise you that there's other people out there that's going to help you with whatever you need help with. You just got to reach out. Got to reach out, touch somebody. You got to reach out. You don't have to give them a hug or a kiss or anything. Just say, "Hey, can I have some help? Or can you point me in the right direction?" And you'd be surprised. There's so many wonderful people out there, and we got to help each other. This is a sometimes a dark and dreary world. And I believe that we all should strive to be the freaking tide that rises all ships. We got to be like it. We got to be the change that we want to see. We can't point and wish that things were different about this and that. We got to be different ourselves. We got to lead by example. We got to be like that. What was that guy from India? I was going to say Muhammad Ali, Gandhi. Gotta be, gotta be like Gandhi. Led a peaceful resistance against the British Empire and got freaking India liberated. I guess I don't know if you want to look at it that way. Some people's, he broke them away from the British Empire. Let's say that way. Through peaceful protest, he helped bring that about. And but be the change you want to see. Be the tide that rises all ships. All that good stuff. I love y'all. Yins, be good. Be good to one another. Uh, don't get caught up in social media. Do not feed the trolls. And as always, this is CB Smallwood, and hopefully I will see you in the next video.